Hey, David, it was good to see Belmont Park race so well and look so well there yesterday as well. We had Tom Wood and Ian Malpass down from the Hong Kong Jockey Club. They were up over the road there at Belmont for a couple of races yesterday before going to the footy.
Excellent.
And they watched the second in the box there with Cobb, and they reported in that the place was just looking outstanding. So first time Tom Wood's been to Belmont. When you get up there in that commentary position and look at the place, you go, wow. It
great
does
outlook.
Look outstanding.
Yeah, it is a great outlook, isn't it?
With the river going around. I know there's the works and all the footings going on for the building, but he said this place looks really good, and he was quite happy to stay there for the day, which is probably what I would have done.
Is he a West Coast fan?
Tom, I think, is neutral.
Okay.
Melby's a big West Coaster.
Well, he probably would have stayed in the box and been lying in the corner after what he saw there last night, to be fair, Marty. It didn't get to any great heights, it must be said, this game of football between Fremantle and West Coast. Fremantle took care of business, but they were very, very wasteful in front of goal for a fair portion of the match. It's one that I think they'd be happy to just get the 4 points, get out of the place and move on to next week. And, gee, there have been some almighty hidings this weekend. Yeah, last night there in horrendous conditions. This was a win from the Crows. They piled on 133 points. Their crosstown rivals, Port Adelaide, have managed just 35 points in Ken Hinkley's final game as coach. But this cannot, if you're tuning in and you've seen this scoreline, 2013 defeats 5-5-35, you're looking saying, well, must have been a lovely night for football. Well, it could not be any further from the truth. It was heaving down, and Adelaide have still found a way to have 33 scoring shots, pile on 133. That's right back to their absolute brilliant offensive best. But at the same time, they've maintained their stingy defence, limiting Port to just 35 points, a 98-point victory. Port, the wheels are off. Obviously, Ken towards the end now. Players injured. It hasn't been a great season. But while that's all happening, you think, well, surely no one else is going to cop a mauling, anything like this. Well, just switch channels, because North Melbourne, they've managed to get rolled 49 to Geelong 150, rolled by 101 points. And punters, if you've missed this one, just treat yourself to a little bit of Jeremy Cameron time, because he's bagged a lazy 11 there last night. And Toby Pink, well, he would have been dead set, struggling to sleep last night, having flashbacks of Jeremy just ducking out the back and slotting another on him. 11 of the best. Shorty,
there was just no matchup. You look at him and said, multiple goals again. And you know, when you do it week to week, there's not too many matchups for Jeremy Cameron.
No, correct.
Any side.
No, Toby was, poor fella. You could see him there, and he was giving it everything he had. Most times he got there sort of just after Jezza had taken the mark or slotted the goal, and he was flat stick. The wheels were spinning, but there was just no catching up. There was just no catching up.
Bluey has sent one in. He's with us. Hi, guys. The Adelaide Crows, the big surprise this year. Are they a premiership threat now? That is from Bluey. My oath they are. My oath they are.
Indeed. Yeah, no, they've tidied their back. After the first month, they were very leaky down back, but they had that amazing offense, and you thought, well, I don't know that you'll be winning any flags while you're so leaky defensively, but they have tightened that right up. And at the same time, they haven't lost their offensive power, so they're very, very impressive, and they're now into $4.50, just behind Collingwood, $4.25 to win the premiership. Brisbane out to 6. What a bitterly disappointing loss that was to the crosstown rivals, Gold Coast. And credit to Gold Coast and Damien Hardwick, Marty. I heard the interview pre-game, and I was thinking to myself, now come on, Damien. He said, people will understand shortly that we're not the old Gold Coast anymore. We're the new Gold Coast. We're happy to take up a challenge, and we will stand up in the face of adversity off a loss like last week. And I'm listening saying, well, you're saying the right things, but let's see some actions now. And they went and delivered. They were outstanding.
Pressure was outstanding.
Big time.
We mentioned it the other day with Mick McGuan. If they don't bring their pressure, it's like most sides, but they really fall apart. But when they bring their pressure like that, they are up there with any of the sides. And I heard, Fags say that they've been up a long time, and they probably have. They've won 6 or 7 out of 8, I think, Brisbane, been on a good run. But, gee, you'd want them to do a bit more than that. They just sort of rolled a bit, didn't they?
I thought they did. Very plain.
And just back to Adelaide, I heard Matthew Nicks interviewed after the game and asked where have you got to improve on the way in from here? What areas of the game? And he basically said, we've just got to hold it together. So here's a coach who's really happy with the way his team's going.
Yeah.
He's got, as you have said and we've said, he's got defence, he's got attack, he's got midfield, he's got everything going right. Just keep it going.
Status quo.
Keep it going. If we run, going to run top two. Who have they got to play now? Adelaide have got to play... Adelaide are playing Hawthorn, West Coast, Collingwood and North Melbourne. Hawthorn at home.
You'd think they'd
West
win.
Coast away, Collingwood at home, North Melbourne away.
I'd say they're good for at least three of them.
So they're going to be close to top two. James Sullivan's online. He joins us right now. G'day, James.
Hello, Marty Shortte listeners. Hello, boys.
Before you go any further, we'll talk a bit of union because you're our union man as well. Gee, the British Irish Lions got out of trouble late, didn't they? 29-26 in a controversial finish in front of 90,000 at the MCG.
Late? It's like bidding with 2 seconds to go, wasn't
Well,
it?
that's when you put your bid in.
Absolute frustration. Hugo Keenan has upset the apple cart for the Wallabies after... it's amazing. They led 23-5 after the 33rd minute, and I thought, here we go. And I just kept thinking, Tommy Liner, he missed a couple of conversions, and they probably should have been kicked. And I went, geez, I hope this doesn't bite him on the you-know-what at the back end of the game. And, 5 tries to 3, and the British Irish Lions, they galvanised. But as you said, Marty, 90,000, and there was probably 70 of them were probably the guys from across the ditch, a bit further. But half-time, 23-17, they got back into the game in the last 7 minutes. That was the big key. They really got themselves back into the game. And as I said, controversial, you're right. I've got a lot of union friends who text me straight after I won't, you'll need a dictionary to what they were saying, but they weren't happy.
So we talked about it last week. It's every 12 years that this happens. Last night, for those that don't follow the rugby all that closely, the crowd tells you all you need to know. 90,307 people turned up to watch this game. When I sort of broached it with you last week when we discussed this, is this too good to only be happening once every 12 years? The fan numbers, the amount of people that get involved, this is the equivalent of 3 lots of Olympics, 12 years to happen. Could they potentially look at making it every 8 years or 6 years, or is it just that 12 years is a sweet spot and that's why it is so special?
Well, you can't break history, David. No, come on. And they do play in other countries, of course. So, yeah, well, they go to New Zealand. You imagine what it's like over there. They haven't got the ground to hold 90,000, of course. But, it's pretty important. But I'll tell you what, I just wish, imagine Sydney next. Well, it's still going to be on for young and old. But imagine going into that game 1-1. I think the purist in me just wanted the 1-1. And then whatever happened in the last one, I wasn't too fast. But, the Wallabies, moving forward, we've got a World Cup next year. That was a big thing as we look at. So, they're coming along nicely.
It's got to be a big step forward, doesn't it, from where they've been, the Wallabies?
Yeah, my word. And obviously, Jay Smith, he's there at the moment, but he's not going to be there for the World Cup. There's Les Kiss will take over. So, it is a big step forward and just starting to see which blokes can fit into the right position. But as I said, when they led 23-5 and just those couple of conversions, I thought, gee whiz, 27-5 would be handy.
Indeed. Oh, well, it's great to see a little bit of lustre coming back to the Wallabies. It's been a tough time for the sport for a pretty significant period of time, and nice to see a bit of excitement there for the Wallabies. Let's get into the NRL, though, Sul. We'll start with the Panthers. They're starting to really purr along now. What an absolute drubbing this was. 36-2 over West Tigers. The Tigers have only just managed to scrape in to bother the scorer there overnight. So Penrith very good defensively, but the offence with very nice as well, getting over the line on 6 separate occasions.
Yeah, that was the key, wasn't it? And no points. So, the defensive record on this run has been incredible so far by the Panthers. And I sort of said to Marty, I think probably 5-6 weeks ago, I was worried about did the Panthers have enough points in them. But all of a sudden, this kid and this Casey McLean, he's been outstanding. And Edwards looks like he's refreshed and ready to go, and also Cleary. They look like they had fun last night. Mind you, if you like playing footy in the backyard, they had 4 ex-teammates on the West Tigers side, didn't they? They were sort of said, well, you're not going to beat us. So that's a simple line. But, yeah, I think people starting out, at the end of the day, they'll play finals where they finish. I don't think they can finish in the top 4. But if they do, holy dooly, watch out.
But are they good enough to win it from outside of the top 4?
Oh, I'm not going to say no now.
No. I bet you shouldn't.
I still think, well, at the end of the day, it's all going to come down to injuries. When you look at it, we know what happened with Jerome Hughes, obviously on Thursday night. He's now looks like he'll play in the last round. He's a key, but they've been there, done that. And you just rely on that, don't you? And when we look at all these sides at the moment, this NRL, the sides that, you think can win it, you look at their class players. And the bottom line is, the Storm and the Panthers have the class players.
That they do. Gee, the Sharks made heavy weather of beating the Rabbitohs. They got them 14-12. They were down 6-2 at half time. Yeah,
they were, and 2 tries each. At the end of the day, they were very, very brave. This is a Rabbitohs side who has been whacked with the injury stick. They really, really have. And I think what we said about the Sharks before, that they've been at full strength. They weren't affected. In Origin, they go to Gosford. Again, they got away with the 2 points, but gee whiz, they were lucky. And once again, now when you look at the Rabbits, they're sitting on 16 points, equal with 2 other sides, and the battle for the spoon. Wow. I never thought I'd say that. But, yeah, no, this is the thing with the Sharks side, boys. They should have really put that side away last night. Let's be totally honest. And, that's what worries me. They'll play finals. They've got a good run home. But, yeah, the back end, once again, that Achilles heel. But for the Sharks, is finals footy.
Indeed. On to the next fixture. Quite the upset here. The Titans on the road and knocking off the Warriors in Auckland. 24-16, Sal. What's happened here?
Oh, Desi's 500. Mate, he gave him a spray in the showers last week. Well, they didn't want another one,
careful.
They pulled the old you-know-what out. Unbelievable.
Ooh.
What about the pass from Kieran Foran? He hit Philip Sami on the chest in the 47th minute. You get a chance to have a look. Just wind the clock back, Kieran. Oh, mate, he's thrown at 25. It's hit him straight on the chest, comes around and wins. The funny thing about it, this is what, when you look at the stats, and I love looking at stats, the Titans have won 5 of their past 6 versus the Warriors before yesterday's game. It's one of those ones that smacks you in the head and you go, oh. And this is a Tigers side, a Titans side that were, beaten on the bell last week. I know the Warriors, they got away with 1-2, don't forget. They were very lucky to beat the Knights last week. So, but at the end of the day, all kudos, good luck and well done to Desi has them. 500 games as an NRL coach. I'm sure the boys had a happy shower yesterday.
Okay, we go back to Friday night. We've got to talk about this game, Broncos and Eels, and another controversial finish, and the Eels upsetting the Broncos 22-20. Tell us about the finish, though.
Oh, well, the finish, of course, the Reece Walsh try, and I've never seen the bunker make a decision quicker. I'm still not convinced either way. I'm more than happy if someone says, Sully, I had a few mates yesterday say, mate, he was in front. I said, well, so was James Tedesco the night before, but was he pulled back? No. So it's an interesting one with that, but, the Eels, outstanding, and what Jason Riles is, he's got on his hard horse, but I tell you what, and I spoke about class players before.
Yeah, you said it Friday. Yeah, Moses, I know where you're going. Yeah.
You know where I'm going. I know they won't play finals this year, but Mitchell Moses, when he comes back, and we did speak about it Friday, mate, he is he's elite, to put it that way. We saw 2 halfbacks play on Friday night. Tom Dearden for the Cowboys,
he's a beauty.
Elite.
Yep.
Absolute elite. And then saw Mitchell Moses turn one on. Mate, this is a big... Mate, the try from Sean Russell, individual brilliance. It was unbelievable, that first try they scored. And, the Broncos and people, they'll keep asking questions. And I know, Reece Walsh has copped a hammering since. He did some silly things. And but at the end of the day, great win for the Eels. Geez, the McDermott boys will be up and about, boys.
Yeah, the train. Yeah, the train's fizzy.
And the Shane Train. Oh, my God, he was everywhere.
Hey, just quickly too, that leaves the Broncos now in 6th position, 10 wins, 8 losses. Where are they at, Sol, in regards to winning the title this year? Are they a legitimate contender or are they too flashy and in and out?
Well, they've been on a run, haven't they? You know, they won 6 in a row before the other night. So they won 5 in a row, before the other night. And
they're off the bye, weren't they?
Yes, correct. And it's not a bad run home. They play the Rabbits, the Storm, the Dolphins, Knights, Cowboys, Storm. They'll play finals, Shorty. Yep. That's the bottom line. In that run home, you know, when you look at it, they've got the Dolphins who are striving to make the 8, and they've got the Storm twice. So, So that's a big one for them. But they'll ease into it. And what happens when they get there, that's the big thing. So they'll be in that bottom of it. But yeah, they need to get that consistency a little bit better.
And then the other game, you said there's points in this game Friday night. You said points over, Cowboys 38, Dragons 32. It was an entertaining game.
Oh, only 13 tries.
Wow.
Fair dinkum. I tell you, the telling point of this game was just before half-time. The Cowboys scored 2 late tries right in that back end of it, but I just mentioned Tommy Dearden. He had it on a string.
Star.
Friday night, he was outstanding. The Dragons, they charged home, courtesy of Terrell Sloan grabbed a double, Jacob Little grabbed a double. Another game that St George have lost by 6 points or less. Unbelievable this year. That's their 7th loss by 6 points or less in 2025. Doesn't that help your points when you can win 1 or 2 of them?
Big time, yeah. Well, it shows you that you're close, but AFL's, we often refer to it, but there are some sides, Sol, that they train so hard for game conditions where it's tight late, and the sides that train it generally produce it in games. Is it something similar in the NRL? Is it something you can train for, being confident in a tight contest, or is it something that you just have to let it unfold on game night?
Yeah, well, I think my humble, when I watch it, Shorty, and when we played it, it was more about situations. And the big key was making sure you played for the 80 minutes. You know, you see some of these sides beaten in the last 10 minutes and you think, what's happening there? But it becomes a habit. And you've got to break the habit. That's the hardest thing in life to do, is break a habit. And it's exactly the same in any sport. So that's my opinion. You train the same way. But you have that confidence, don't you? Like, you know yourself, Shorty looks at Marty, with 5 to go, I know Marty's there. And you get away with things. But at the moment, it's not working for the Dragons in those tight games.
Absolutely, yeah. But belief and confidence and knowing that you can do it. And once you've done it, often it breaks the seal and away you go. Got a couple of games to look forward to today. So the boys with horns go in warm. Canberra $1.19, Newcastle $4.60. That line's big at 14.5. Game total 44.5. And the latest start 5 minutes past 2 this afternoon WA time. It's Canterbury $1.61, Manly $2.32. The line's 3.5. The support early's been for the Dogs to cover that and win by 4 or more. They're into $1.85. Manly the plus out to 195, and game total there 43.5, and the over's been backed into $1.85 there. How do you see these two games, Sol?
Yeah, the Raiders chasing their first minor premiership in 35 years, boys. But I tell you what, we just spoke about stats that smack you in the mouth. Just be careful with this one today, because I saw Adam O'Brien yesterday, the Newcastle coach, and he was confident, but obviously no Bradman Best. That's a big, big loss. But the Knights have won 4 of their past 6 v the Raiders, and they're 3 from 4 away on the road this year. So they're awful at home. The Raiders have won 7 from 8. I don't think they'll get things all their own way. It's wet, boys. It's wet and cold here in Canberra today, and it will be slippery conditions. I think they'll do the job, but I might just go the Raiders 1-12. Yeah, I might. Yep. I'm happy to just take that 1-12. Not a bad little price. Match of the day. The next game, the Bulldogs and the Sea Eagles. It's going to be a beauty. The Sea Eagles so impressive last week in Melbourne, as we know, and the Bulldogs lucky to get over the top of the Dragons. It's a special day at Allianz. They've had the reunion of the 1995 premiers. So here's another one, Marty. Sea Eagles are one of 11 of the past 12 over the Bulldogs.
Yeah.
And, I just want to, as we said, there's another side that's got that consistency thing, Shorty. very similar to the Sharks. The Seagulls, they can be up and down, up and down. Well, they're up last week. They won't want to be down today. So my play, I'm going to go the Raiders 1-12. I'm going to go either team by 10 or less in the next game. That's $6.24.
Yep.
I like Hudson Young to score a try any time. So let's go a same game combo. Hudson Young any time. Raiders win $2.45, and that's lock in Hudson Young and Tom Trbojevic to score a try any time. $5.72. Let's hope we're having a nice little roast tonight.
Go Turbo. Let's get the job done. So, how are your boys going? They played those so far this weekend?
Yeah, copped a couple of losses yesterday. Yeah, the young Bulldogs boys that Toby plays for in the Massey, they come up against a side called St Mary's, lads.
Yep.
Who featured Michael Jennings, Christian Crichton, Bryce Cartwright. Yeah, there was a few.
Fair side.
A few of the kids were a little bit gun-shy.
Hey, Sal, we'll listen in on Thursday morning when you're on with the boys and chat again next Friday on Drive. Thanks for coming on.
Stay safe, boys, and have a cracking Sunday, everyone.
Sullivan. It's always good to talk NRL. That text line's open. They're coming for me for a change here, Shorty. I've got to belt this bloke.
Hang on. Doesn't he bring some energy, Sal?
Oh, Sully,
I love it.
You
love his work.
Get a bit of energy. Tommy of Gosnells. Come on, Tommy.
Hello. Here we go.
Tommy. I don't know about you, Tommy. Mark. Are you still Dan Curtin v. Harley Reid? Reid's been good since you said that on the Sports Daily. Tommy, have you been watching Adelaide at all, Tommy? Dan Curtin
has been magnificent.
Did you see last night? Only had about 10 tackles in the wet.
Oh,
he's a star.
He's been huge.
You know what he is? He's a team player, and I don't think the other bloke is.
He's versatile. He can play either end of the ground, Dan Curtin.
Absolutely.
His development has been phenomenal, to be honest.
Do you think Harley Reid's almost unsettling factor for the Eagles?
He's that big in a side that lacks star power. He is that big that at times it becomes a lot about him rather than the team. And look, it's not. He doesn't choose that to be the case. It's just because he's such a big personality and because he's the future of the club right now. They are chips on him to be the drill out merchant, the man that's going to lead them to better times. And
$2 million.
And a lot of people are expecting that if he stays at the club that there'll be more players come to the club to want to play with him, and he respects a lot of attention. But at times, we sometimes forget how young the guy is as well. He's under an incredible amount of pressure. He's expected to turn up and be the big dog on campus as a young guy. He's under enormous pressure in a side that are just going. I can understand that he has got limitations as a young guy, and he'll just keep getting better as time goes on, and he'll learn to develop and mature and.
But is he
get better with things.
Is he $2 million? That's a lot of money.
Marty, I don't. To be brutally honest.
So, do you think the Eagles have got to keep him at all costs?
I personally, I can see both sides of the equation. So if I'm West Coast and I'm holding him as my main asset right now, and it gets silly, like the bidding's getting, to be fair, price-wise, the bidding's getting silly. And he's worth a lot. Now, if you could let's have a look at most of the good sides in the competition have a good draft where they get 3 or 4 really good players in at the same time. They don't normally just get one good player in. You have a look around the league. Most premierships are built around a club that's had a season where they've got 3 or 4 outstanding players in the same draft that have arrived. Well, West Coast have had one outstanding player, but you might have to give him up to have that one draft where you get 3 or 4 really good players in it. Just gives you that bit more depth. It gives you a better spread. It probably takes more pressure off just one person and shares the load a little bit. So if that's the way they go, then they're not in a losing situation there because you're going to get access to quite a few.
They are just lacking, in youth, and they're lacking in seniority. They're just lacking skill anywhere.
Big time. And let's have a look. So, Tim, the last time the Eagles went chips in on one player, both salary-wise and also with draft collateral was with Tim Kelly. And unfortunately, it hasn't ended well. That's not Tim's fault because he didn't command what he commanded for picks and what's happened to the club. But when you get the opportunity to get multiple first-round draft picks, and I heard yesterday Adam Ramanauskas in his spot with Half I was listening to on Friday, and West Coast, I think, are one of the few clubs in the comp that have only got something like 2 or 3 first-round picks in their squad. So which is amazing to think, given how long they've been towards the bottom of the table.
Exactly.
But they had draft collateral coming in and out and different deals going on. So they need to get some first-round draft talent into their setup. And they'll get that this time around because they're going to finish bottom and get pick 1. They'll get pick 2 for Oscar Allen going up to Brisbane. And now we sort of... It's looking more and more likely, though, that Harley's going to re-sign on this big money. Now, you talk to me about whether I think he's worth the money or not. For me, $2 million, I think $1 million is a lot for a really good player, but double that. For me, I'm talking the players the calibre of Nick Dacos, Marcus Bontempelli, maybe Sam Darcy.
They reckon Marcus is 1.35, just re-sign.
Okay, so if you tell me you can have Marcus for 1.35 or you can have Harley Reid for $2 million.
Which way are you going?
Where do I sign immediately? Like, can I have 10 of him?
Yeah.
Like, can I have 10 of the Bont?
Yep.
Like, it's insane to think. And I get it. He's a one club player, wanted to stay loyal. In the open market, he probably could have got more. But to be paying a young guy like this $2 million when someone like the Bont's on 1.35, it seems a little bit out of whack. He's effectively worth 33% more for a wage than what the Bont is. That doesn't stack up.
It's about 12% of your salary cap.
Yeah, look, I get
fair bit of money.
And the thing,
divided by how many on a list?
42, is it?
Yeah,
it is. It's heavily invested, but you've got to pay the vast majority of your salary cap regardless, and at the end of the day, if you've got no stars, you've got to pay someone. Yeah. North Melbourne are a great example of it. They've got a pile of players on far too much, but you go, well, you have to pay 95% of your salary cap, so it's got to go to someone. So these guys like Luke Davies-Uniacke, for example, has been on absolute clover for years, and they never seem to get to any peak sort of position within their career because they just keep turning up.
It's not even their career, it's the club.
Correct.
So it's the club that's got to improve, not... They've got to improve the club, and there's no improvement for North Melbourne with all those young stars.
I think they're worth a chat, North. They haven't improved. So so here we are. You know, when Clarkson came, there was a genuine feeling from their fans and from I think all and sundry that they'll be on the right path now. They've got a good coach. They're going to get access to a lot of high quality talent in the drafts. Well, here we are now, sort of 5 years down the path, and they're finishing second last, with 4 wins, 14 losses, 1 draw, and a percentage of 72.8. Yeah. That's the kicker. That's the giveaway. They've been disgraceful.
It's obviously a problem, and they don't seem to want to address it. It's their defence. And they've been saying this for 3 years, and they go out and get some good young defenders, or find some, or get some in, and the ones they've brought in just haven't done the job. We've got to get cracking. Racetrack Ralphy coming up. We were going to have Darren Flindell, but he just hasn't picked up the phone, as Chris Nelson is flying away to Bali, I think.
I think he's taking his wife and daughter to the airport who are going, and sadly for Chris...
Oh, he's not going?
He's been left on the tarmac while they head to Bali. I caught up with Chris in Bali last year. Geez, a lovely fellow. Yeah. He likes a little whiskey sour, Chriso.
Nothing wrong with that.
Indeed. Yeah, good
one
fella.
Off this text line from Snoz, and look, send your texts in. I know for the last couple of weeks we haven't been getting through all the texts, and that's my fault, but we'll get through all the texts that are sent in today, I guarantee it. So good morning, Marty and Shorty. I feel so for Freo, and the reason I say this is West Coast going to pay Reid in the range of 1.5 to 2 million, then Freo will have to find 6 million to keep the services of Young, Brayshaw and Sarong, because these guys are far superior and more disciplined. That is from Snoz. One thing about yesterday, the performance of Hayden Young second up. How good was that?
How clean is he with the football? My goodness. He is a difference maker. So as good as Sarong and Brayshaw can be, Young is just so much more punishing with ball in hand.
Oh,
he really is.
And his size, those two need that presence
big time
in the midfield. Quick one from Lisa of Ellenbrook. Take a break, and then we're going to catch up with Racetrack Ralph, have a good chat to him about the racing yesterday at the Heath, but also there's a few other points he's raised on social media that we should be able to get to him about. This is from Lisa of Ellenbrook and Sophie. Guys, what a great career Sam Doherty has had at Carlton. Despite many setbacks, he has always come back and led by example and been an inspiration to his teammates and supporters alike. His courage, his integrity is very rare these days, and wish Sam the best of health. To him and his family, all the very best in the future. Guys, in my opinion, Freo were underachievers. They should have done to the Eagles what the Dogs did to Essendon, Cats did to North. Freo will struggle in finals. Okay, for the rest of the season, the Eagles, no point them having a game plan when players struggle to do the basic kick, mark, handball, kicking for goals. Take care, enjoy your day.
Blah, blah, blah. Let Marty Young and David Shortte do all the talking on the Aftermath. Sunday morning at its best on Tab Radio Racing and Sport.
Yeah, very good morning, Racetrack Ralphy.
Good morning, boys. We're at Caulfield yesterday, and I've got a 3-word summary for you.
Go on.
Burn it with fire. Oh, that's 4. Because I left one other word out. Oh, my goodness. So, yeah, it was just one of those meetings that it was end of season, it was dead of winter, and actually the quality was similar. Unfortunately, there were probably 4 or 5 horses in the market that just didn't even turn up due to pulled up sore and etc. So anyway, we did our best and we'll do our best, and I'll try and give you some insights into it.
Just before we go into it, Ralphie, I saw your 2-camera piece down by the river there on Friday, and you made the point that the Everest has become the best race in Australia, and the Melbourne Cup is obviously the most iconic race. And you're concerned about some of the big races in Melbourne, i.e. the Cox Plate, Caulfield Cup and races like that, and what should be done from a marketing point of view to try and arrest the trend and make them relevant again?
Well, I said that it's a bit like, what's the phrase, boiling a frog, that sometimes something turns up and you don't realise it's happened until it's happened. And in this case, the Cox Plate's always been Australia's best race, and Melbourne Cup the most iconic. But now, since Peter V'landys, and all credit to him, I mean, that's the innovation, and Melbourne were vulnerable to it without pumping money into prize money, that with the King Charles now a $5 million race the week before the Cox Plate, and the Golden Eagle a $10 million race the week after the Cox Plate, it's no longer the race that everyone sets their horse for if you the very best in the middle distance area, because 4-year-olds say, well, why wouldn't we just run against 4-year-olds? Yep. And the weight for H horses are running the week before. So that then means it just simply is factual that you can no longer make the Cox Plate the best race in Australia with horses compromised. So to me, the solution is the VRC should pump, if they've got the money at the moment, which is another story, but if they pump some serious money into that 2000 race, that's, I think it's now called the Champions, it used to be the old McKinnon, into the last race of the Carnival, that's got its own runway, and that could be the new best race in Australia for mine.
Yep. Good point you make. All right, let's have a look at Caulfield from yesterday, and the first event, Ole Dancer wins the first. Blake Shin makes a good thing of the Jockeys Premiership.
Certainly does, and yeah, absolutely outstanding season for Blake, including missing some time with injury, and fully deserves it, and also gave a bit of winter excitement with Willow chasing him at his best too. So Ole Dancer, look, the way the track's played here, the track was very wet from pretty much the chute until the 400, and that was accentuated by some headwind. It wasn't overly savage, and the home straight actually played all right, so that's a good sign that it's just starting to improve before spring. So nice turn of foot from Ole Dancer, 4th best last 200 of the day. Thanks Gorgeous was, as I said, last starter was 100-1 and got the right race shape, and it did again yesterday. Autumn Mystery was sound late, but I think Ole Dancer will keep improving from this, but no superstars so far.
All right, on to race number 2 on the program. Pop Award for Matty Cartwright, proved too good for Verdot and Luna Cat.
Yeah, hey Shorty. Look, this is actually the race that you really want to be with from a horses to follow point of view. Benchmark 78, and they've run significantly faster time than the fillies, same track distance in race 6. And Pop Award and Verdot were both first up. and put a huge circle around Gala Queen from Stokes's yard. Just a nice little run in first up in traffic. So all these horses that were resuming on a day where it was a pretty tough day to run time, and like I said, the first two sections of that race were on soft ground. I think they're all going to significantly improve, and they've all got a fair bit of talent and upside. So the first two, Papa Ward and Verdot, and the fifth horse, Gala Queen.
Third event, the Gold Stayers. I reckon a little rule of thumb that you could just, every time you go to Caulfield and you see the all green colours in, you just have $10 on them. You know, if you're just one of those punters who doesn't really follow it that closely, because the amount of times Maloney wins at Caulfield is amazing.
Yeah, the old black shorts.
Yep.
He and you could probably throw in having a horse blink his first time too, because that was just a little switch on. And there's two ways of looking at odds on. One is it the best horse of the race, and yada yada. But there's also the time to just watch the race and not bet.
Yeah.
So if you want to take $1.40 on a horse that is a distance down at 2,000, running over 2,400. I'm sure plenty of outlets will happily give you
let you on.
Give you an account. Exactly. So, look, Jimmy Bear, he's a beauty, and they couldn't resist it because it was odds on for a past edge reason. But in a dogfight, Dictionary just out toughed him, and he ran third in this race last year. He wasn't a distance down; he was a class out, and in the end, that was the pincer movement, if you like, class versus distance capacity.
Yeah, I think a couple of scratchings probably trimmed it up a bit shorter than what many were expecting there. And Jimmy, you could see him giving it everything he had there late, but to Dictionary's credit, it fought back well and was a very nice performance to get the cash. On to race number 4, the MRC Chairman's Club Handicap. Stylish Secret. Craig Williams clawed one back, defeated Verona Roops, and Frontline Action. Ralphy, tell us about the 4th.
Yes, well, if you looked up the racing dictionary and the phrase significant jockey change, there's now a photo of Craig Williams riding Stylish Secret. So look, I black booked this horse for you after its Caulfield run. What was it, 5 starts back? And it was just dead set super. It got beaten to nose in a real fast 2000 race, and it was in May, and we were having a great run with weather. Rogan just beat it, and you thought, well, it's in for a really good winter, and it just had no luck, and it was $6.50 to $4.60 yesterday, and I think when the markets opened, it was about $10. So the smarties just went, yep, Willow's going to make the most of this, and he certainly did. But Verona Rupees nearly pinched it, and that was just positioning running 101, and ironically, Luke Cartwright's been riding Stylish Secret, and he rode a beautiful front running race on Verona Rupees. So they cleared out, and it was positioning running. Unfortunately, American Wolf pulled up sore, so that was an excuse there.
Into the 5th, and Gavin Bedgood having a good run with his horses. Jamie Mellon brings behaviour from second last to win the race. Yeah,
and this again was sort of this fitness versus talent pincer movement, if you like, at this time of year. And what a ride. God, she's a good rider. Check the replay of just, because obviously I wasn't sole focused watching her at the time, but then I just watched the replay today. She just lets the horses float under her and balances perfectly and everything. So, it was, like I said, just a case of being rock hard fit and getting the right race. I think Bossy Bonita will now peak. I know one first up, but it's got improvement to come. And Notesy to me was a bit of a sucker bet. Like it's got a lot of talent, but I think it's dry track and 1100s its go. Maybe at Moonee Valley, if it was a firm Moonee Valley, rail out and leaders track at over 1200 might suit it. But under that circumstance, yesterday wasn't its go.
On to race number 6. Well, Nick Ryan won race number 6, and many thought that would be the case going into this race, but probably not with the horse that won the race. It was Vain Champagne that was able to prevail, not Savage Revive, who was the much more favoured runner from the stable, but nice performance from Vain Champagne. Too strong for Delicate Lady, Shadavar and Sunsetting.
Yeah, and almost replay press play here because, you had the rock hard fit horse in Vain Champagne, 5th start, first prep, and just given that best run out in the wider lanes and some of the on paces caved in. But as I said, this was significantly slower than that mares in race 2. So I'd be very careful of the form here. The one horse I probably want to forgive is Shadavar. I think it's just a dead set dry tracker. So that was its chance to improve second up. Yesterday it did improve. But if the weather can improve as it can at this time of year, I think Shadavar, it's going to peak on a much firmer ground.
Race 7 over the mile, McCardle and Stanley combined with El Rocco.
Yeah, this was the old mate's handicap. I actually wrote in my form, I go, it's not often you can state firmly this is a field leg, but this was a field leg. And in the end, Jet Stanley just fantastic ride. I mean, and I've got Vince Cardi's figures through here, and give you an example. He's improved 1.3 lengths in the mid-race, and Forgot You, 8.3, Munamek, 6.7, Milford, 7.2, New Look, nice little kick-off run, the import, 9.6. So never mind weights and under that circumstance. Handicapping was position and running, and all honours to Jet Stanley, rode the perfect race there. I think Milford's ready. He'll probably find a race on a few of these can find a race, is what I'm saying. But yeah, they spin the wheel. They'll take their turns.
Just kept on trucking up front on to race number 8, the Big Screen Company Bletchingley Stakes Group 3 weight for age over the 1,200 metres, and Benny Mellum successful with Bridal Waltz, defeating Kin and Yellow Sam.
Yeah, and it's funny. Like after it won at Flemington last start. It was all Jamie Mellon got it wrong on Choose an Artist, and then the clock came out, and she's gone real good, Bridal Waltz, and she just backed it up again. So she's just in the zone. Beautiful ride by Ben Mellon, just stalking the speed there, and like I said, best performance of the day, as you'd expect, because the rest of the race has dropped off. Kin, she's a better drier track, and this, it's funny looking at the sectionals here that she really accelerated late when she could get her toe in, because, as I said, the best part of the track was clearly the straight. Vince's work as a helicopter view, second best last 400 of the day. So she'll keep going around and find the right race. New York Cluster was a bit of a sucker bet. There was just a terrible time race leading in that weight for age 2 weeks earlier. So Bridal Waltz and Kin, they'll find the right race.
And Windstorm was a little while between drinks, it must be said, but yesterday was the day with Lukey Cartwright aboard. Those 3 kilo claims this time of year come in very handy, defeating Fire of Etna and Hurricane. There were some big novelties in the last.
Well, Shorty, as you well know, I black booked this horse in October 2020 and said, just follow this. And look, if you level stakes, you're in front. It's only another 20 runs.
That's the truth.
Someone said as much as 60 was available yesterday. So, yeah, rock hard fit out the right loads, and Gavin Benchcook had a real good day. So, all on his there. I'll tell you the horse to follow out of that race, though. And one of the 2 that I'm most confident about from the meeting is Hurricane. Super return there. It's going to be winning races. And like I said, the one earlier today, the second race, but with a big circle around Gala Queen.
D's favourites against St Kilda today. Your confidence levels?
I'm so confident. I'm leaving that early. I'm not even going.
Thank you very much.
On you, Ralphy.
On you, boys.
Racetrackralphy.com.au. Quick one here, Shorty. Jim Pommy Pie. Morning, boys. Hungover. Woke up to find Shorty struck gold again. Legend. Now for a Pies win and 11 goals for Jamie. That is Jim Pommy Pie. Well done, Shorty.
Good on you, Jimmy.
3 from 3 last night.
Magnificent.
Racing and sport from different angles. You're listening to The Aftermath on Tab Radio Racing and Sport.
Cal Gully. So get those texts in. Hi, Marty. Have you guys made mention of David's ton off 37 balls? Snoz. Let's talk about that. Tim David just went boom.
Unbelievable scenes there yesterday. And actually, that leads us to the fact that game's underway now there in the West Indies, where West Indies are batting first after 2.3 overs, 1 for 23. Hope is on 1, Chase is on 0. But that was yesterday, this game. And Tim David, if you missed that, was just extraordinary. Fastest 100 on the way through. It was just raining sixes. He made it look particularly easy, but it's not. His statistics, 102 off 37 balls, 6 boundaries and 11 sixes.
Amazing.
So broken down, that's almost every second ball that he faced was either a 4 or a 6. Strike rate of 275.67 over that number of balls is just extraordinary, and Australia 4 for 215 coasted in, chasing down the West Indies 4 for 214. For the West Indies, Shy Hope 102 not out of 57 balls. He would have been in the crossover thinking, I've done a pretty reasonable job there. And then Tim David gives you Winburn getting the 100 with 20 balls fewer, and Australia winning with just under 4 overs to spare. So it's been a clinical performance over there, Marty. We've wiped out the floor with the West Indies in the Test series, albeit our batting wasn't great. Their batting was a lot worse, and similar story here in the T20 stuff. But well done to Tim David. And in general, so you have a look at the the batting order. Mitch Marsh has been opening up. He's made pretty much 20 each game. Josh Inglis has been batting 3. He's had a really good time of it up until that game yesterday. Cam Green's been going well. He's batting at number 4, and Tim David at 5. So we've got 1, 3, 4 and 5 in that batting lineup at the moment, the West Aussies. So great to see them in the team and doing particularly well.
What about the big game at Old Trafford? So India all out 358. England make 669. Joe Root 150. Ben Stokes 141. So 669. India looked in terrible trouble. 2 for 10, Shorty. But they're now 2 for 174.
And what I like about this series, Marty, and Test cricket in general, is it's the ultimate test of what sort of players can adapt to what the game is doing. And yesterday, so there's 2 guys at the crease. There's Shubman Gill in particular. He can go at a strike rate of 200 plus in T20 games, in the IPL, in big white ball games of cricket. But for him to be at the crease there yesterday, now as the captain of the side with KL Rahul, one of the more experienced campaigners, and to go, we're 2 for 10. They'd lost Jaiswal for a duck. They'd lost Sudarshan for a duck. Wokes had 2 for nothing, and they're both meeting at the crease going, probably a good idea if we just bat for a little while now. And lo and behold, 78 off 167 balls, and up the other end, Rahul, 87 off 210 balls. They have just literally taken all the air out of the game now with 4 days through, and they are now looking pretty comfortable. Whereas if both of those had got out cheaply, England could almost steamroll over the top, and it would have been, potentially all over early on day 5. So credit to India. It's a great series. They're both very talented sides, and I'm telling you for a fact that if England get Wood back for this final 5th test, what I've seen from Archer and Stokes with the ball, and throw Wood on top of that, and now you're starting to look at this batting lineup: Crawley, Duckett, Pope, Root, Brooks, Stokes, Smith. It is a very, very imposing batting lineup, and not just because they can score quickly, but because they are well above average talent-wise,
and they're consistent,
and they've got confidence right now. So they're a threat heading across here to the Aussie for the summer upcoming.
Rick from Rossmore, and boys, I think the Eagles should give Harley the 20 million. He was much improved yesterday with only 8 clangers from 15 disposals, and the paper said he was sizzling. And we all know the West is the font of all knowledge. Cheers, Rick of Rossmore, and he's having a little tongue-in-cheek crack there. There was one here. Let's go to this one. This is from Rusty Gates. Always good.
Oh, yeah, Rusty.
Hi, boys. The play in the showdown in Adelaide when the Port player kicked the wrong way after gathering the ball after the first bounce to start the game wasn't the first time a Port player has kicked the ball the wrong way. 11 years ago, David Roden snapped one of the goals of the year in a game against the Western Bulldogs, only to be told he kicked it the wrong way. The goal umpire at the time was fully aware of the mistake and immediately signalled a point. With rule changes to the game since to improve the game, I would think that the goal umpire today would have gone to score review before making the decision. There was one there last night, clearly a point. Did you see that one? Clearly a point.
Well, they've got to back themselves a little more, and I'm not whack. Yeah. I don't like to whack the umpires because we need them for our game to work. But I know, and they're cautious because if they don't get it right, and everyone says, "Why didn't you just review it?"
Yeah.
But gee, it's getting to a point where if I was in charge of the umpires, I would absolutely be 100% behind them, saying, "Back yourself." Unless you think it's a real close one, just back yourself to get it right. We've been going with your decision as the only decision for 125 years in the game. Just because we've got it there as backup, don't rely on it all the time. And we see it in cricket where they always seem to go now to the big square box for any run out and things. And I get it because you've got access to the technology and you don't want howlers, but, it slows the game up.
Just looking at the radar, courtesy of Bomb, just batten down the hatches. If you're thinking about walking Fido or Dougal or any of your dogs around now, just maybe look at the dog so you can have another couple of hours in the corner, champ, because we're not going anywhere. We're about to get hit by a very big front. Ooh. And I tell you what, it's not Brad Hardie either.
On The Aftermath, it's time to introduce the 1985 Brownlow medalist from the Footscray Football Club, Brad Hardie.
Very good morning, Bradley.
Morning, Marty. Good morning, Shorty. Just having a few phone problems, boys, so bear with me.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. How's the head after the big night last night?
Yeah, no problem. No, really good. Fantastic night, Shorty. Brilliant roll up, about 300 there, and including, many of past and present greats of the mighty Red Beat, and it went down extremely well, and Peter Christie and the crew down there did an outstanding job, and I think everybody had I think they had a good time, Shorty. I'm not sure, but anyway, they seem to be dancing, and they seem to be drinking, Marty, and celebrating furiously. So I suppose you can't get much better than that.
Brad, just quickly, for all of us that love the mighty Bulldogs, like myself and Marty and many of our listeners, and those that don't maybe love them but respect them from an opposition perspective, tell us a little bit about the format. It was to celebrate 125 years of South Fremantle there last night. No doubt it was a room littered with superstars of the game. Were there any great stories told from years gone by? Who were your favourite teammates to catch up with, that sort of stuff?
Yeah, well, Shorty, as you know, the Fremantle Football Club, Marty, was very successful back in the late 1800s, and of course then they had to disband it because they went belly up, and that was in 1900 when South Fremantle began and started their own. And yeah, so we sort of, and it wasn't until the war years and we came out of that, and basically I think we won 6 premierships in about 8 years there, Shorty, and that's where the song really began. And they had a representation. Big Gero was there, the superstar himself. They got Gero up, which was great. And then, of course, Malcolm Gregory Brown was there.
Yeah, there's that phone he was talking about.
Well,
no, we have lost him. He's gone off the air. We'll get Sir to get him
it might have been Mel stepping in there and cutting the cord like he did all those years ago with the microphone when that reporter came out. He just snapped it in half and said, I'll have enough of that, Big Brownie. Wasn't that some wonderful vision? He was one of my favourites, Mel Brown. And people used to pot Brownie, and he was colourful. He was larger than life. But I was on a family holiday over in Hong Kong with my mum and dad and Gil and Gwen Starkey when I was only maybe 6 or 7 years old at the time, but I'll never forget it. Mel was across there on the end of season trip with the South Fremantle boys. I think Brad might have been there, Stephen Michael, Nicky Wimmer, a lot of big name players. And Gil knew Mel, and Mel came over and shook hands and signed some stuff and got all boys to come over. And so I'll never forget it. He went out of his way, and I've always had a lot of respect for the man. Always had a lot of respect for the man. Yep.
One of the best. And South Fremantle continue their great form in the Waffle in that Neil Randall Cup. 15-9.99 beats Subi 4-3-38. Sharkies go down to Claremont 10-10-70. The Monts 11-9-75. And in the Perth Derby, East Perth away 15-11-101 beat the West Perth 11-9-75. It is 20 minutes past 7. We'll continue on with some texts. There's one here about whether or not we actually know if Harley is on the reported Monday or not, and I can't find the text, but I did read it. I'm like, Pipe, we read through all the texts in between going to air.
Yeah.
But the gist of it was, do we really know that he's on this? Well, we do know that because his manager has come out and said, if you're not going to be around the $2 million mark, don't even ring me.
I think the initial that chat was 1.5 initially. Yeah. So he said over 10 years, 1.5 per year over 10 years. We're not interested unless you're in that ballpark.
It's edged up a little bit.
I think because of market forces and the fact that there is still demand, it has gone north, which is extraordinary. And the other thing worth noting when we talk about contracts and money is that there is going to be a significant increase in player payments over the next few years. So what the old norm was in regards to what is a max payment over the next 5 to 10 years, given the TV rights and the money that's in the game, it is expected that the salary caps will continue to expand significantly in the coming years, and hence the numbers that we're often hearing saying, what, you must be joking, they're expected over the next 3 to 5 to extend that salary cap significantly. So the numbers that are being bandied around might not be as crazy as what they sound at the moment in a few years' time.
Wayne Agero, Dockers members pathetic booing a 20-year-old kid for no reason. Well, I'll remind you, Wayne, if you're obviously an Eagles fan, I've been at the ground at Subiaco when you booed James Hird, and he'd only come back from nearly being killed in a game of football. People don't realise how close to death he was. My brother-in-law is an esteemed plastic surgeon, like he did with Fred Kersley, put his head back together, and he was in a really bad way. Comes back to Perth and plays one of his first games with a head guard on, and every time he went near the ball, he got booed. I was at the ground. And the other time when Job Watson, with all the drug cheat allegations and every time he went near the ball, got booed. So don't come at the Dockers fans for booing him, because you got a few prize in your locker.
I think you'll find that nearly every fan group in the AFL have their moments when it comes to booing and upsetting people, and that's you know what it is. It's called passion, and it's fan bases that turn up, that love their teams, and they wear the colour glasses of the team that they're on, and they won't hear of anything else. And that's why I love football season, Marty, because it gets us all sparked up, and sometimes we like what we're seeing and hearing, and other times we don't. And when we don't, we jack up.
There's Sophie. Can you see her? She's gone. On a serious note, it wasn't all bad news for Port supporters. After being thrashed by Adelaide, the good news was that their pre-game song, Fire Up the Players, Never Tear Us Apart, by INXS was voted number 1 on the Triple J Australia Songs Countdown.
It's something.
Which they didn't get a chance to sing because it was an Adelaide game. 46,000 turned up there last night, Shorty.
That's
46,000.
In those conditions, it was unbelievable scenes, no doubt about that. And I feel a little bit for Kenny. He's done a good job over a long... And I'll give him credit. The last couple of weeks, he's copped some pretty big servings of humble pie. So, of course, we saw Jack Ginnivan last week with a little aeroplane celebration after Kenny. And he copped that sweet. And then yesterday, it's a horrible way to go out effectively against the crosstown rivals, beaten by a record margin, nearly 100 points. It would have been pretty tough for Kenny, but he copped his humble pie, and he's been pretty gracious in defeat, I think, the last couple of weeks, and that's a measure of the man as far as I'm concerned.
I think he's been enjoying it. Last night there was a very big race in the UK, the King George Queen Elizabeth Stakes. It's a weight for age race over 1.5 miles. They call it their Midsummer Classic, even though it's not a classic. Let's listen to the concluding stages.
Paces Jan Bruegel. Calandigan coming after the filly. Kalpana has quickened up tremendously. Can Calandigan reel her in here? He's getting a bit closer inside the final furlong. Kalpana from Calandigan. Calandigan is a half length. Now it's just a neck. Now it's a nose, and the French horse goes on, and Calandigan wins the King George. Wall down, Kalpana. It's tight for third with
This was a good old-fashioned cave-in before and leading up to this race. They bet on it for a long time. Jan Bruegel, remember he was the one coming across here. I thought he could have won last year's Melbourne Cup.
Yes.
And Calandigan were sort of equal favourites, around that 6-4 each of 2. Well, Calandigan ended up starting 2.10, and Jan Bruegel went out to about 5-2, 3.50. Conscience was expected to lead, only a small field, 5-horse field, and Aidan O'Brien, how they like to have the pacemaker, thought Conscience would lead, Jan Bruegel would track it, but I don't know what happened. And he hasn't got, Aidan O'Brien hasn't got a good record in this race, but they stuffed it up. Jan Bruegel was left in front, Conscience on its outside, and Calandigan just sat back last and then swooped on them. The filly was very good. It's not a great race for 3-year-olds, and had kicked clear Kalpana, and then Calandigan was able to zoom home and win. It's been a pretty good race. I'll just give you some of the horses that have won it. Monjou, Galileo, if you don't mind, Azamore, Hurricane Run, Dylan Thomas, Duke of Marmalade. I was there that year. Nathaniel, postponed, Highland Reel. Some of the great stayers. Enable won it 3 years. Some of the great stayers, some of the great stallions in the world have won this race. And it's always, you always know once this is on that Goodwood is around the corner, which kicks off on Tuesday. It's going to be fantastic viewing. Apparently the weather down there is going to be fine.
Glorious Goodwood.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that. And all the star jockeys on show there last night. A couple of my favourites. Tommy Marquand and also Oisin Murphy, who both spent time here in Australia riding. And Buick, he was with a double there last night. But, Murphy and Marquand, they're two of my favourite runners, favourite jockeys when it comes to jumping on runners up there in the Northern Hemisphere. Very talented. And one of your men got one up at big odds there last night. Dave Egan, a $26 pop there. It had been a while between drinks for two tribes as well.
Exactly, and he hasn't had the big year I thought he would have had this year, David Egan. And what about the Tour de France, the Aussie? Caden Groves won stage 20, the sprint, last night. So there was a huge performance by him. He sounded very emotional after winning. It said it was a childhood dream just to ride in the race. So to win a stage, he was overcome with emotion afterwards. But the Pog looks set to win that tonight, and he'll just take that last stage and take the Tour de France.
Well done. Anytime there's Aussies doing well on the world stage, we love it. There's also a bit of chat around this week that Snoop Dogg could be recruited for halftime entertainment for the AFL Grand Final, Marty. If he could be recruited and do the job that he did for the Super Bowl going back a few years ago, that would just be anything for the AFL Grand Final. That'd be pretty special. And also lots going on too when it comes to, like we said, the cricket side of things. We'll give you the latest there. The Aussies taking on the West Indies as we speak. 3 for 58 now, the West Indies, after 6 overs.
3 for 58. Boys, after the 3 ordinary matches on offer from Channel 7 this weekend, maybe we should call them football wrongs rather than football rights. Cheers, Rick of Rossmore.
Racing. La Sagrada jumped quickly west on Sydney last out. Coming across from out wide was Aston Smoky to second, then followed by Formula Fun. West on Sydney hunts up on the inside to fourth. In behind them was Tilly Rose, then followed by Firefly Lane and West on Prancer, but La Sagrada leads towards the back. Out by 3 lengths in second place was Aston Smoky to the outside. West on Sydney runs on. Behind them Formula Fire, then followed by Firefly Lane off the back. La Sagrada out by 5 lengths. In second Aston Smoky, then followed by West on Sydney, but around the corner it's all La Sagrada, and La Sagrada race away, wins by 3.5 West on Sydney, 4 lengths away, fourth Firefly Lane Aston Smoky, then followed
big win. La Sagrada found the front. That was all she wrote.
New track record too, Marty. It was a stunning performance by La Sagrada, daughter of Aston DB out of Miss America. She's one of the best producers here we've seen in WA for a long time. Runner-up was excellent West on Sydney. He is a dog that's going to win a pile of races over this middle distance and beyond. After sitting last, charged home, excellent in defeat. Firefly Lane, good in third at big odds, and likewise Aston Smoky, just that last little bit. Felt the pain of chasing after a dog like La Sagrada, but all honours with the winner. No admirers lost, though, for the runner-up West on Sydney, and I dare say that we'll see some wonderful encounters between these two greyhounds over the upcoming months. Maybe not just here in Perth either, because they're both at a level where they are as good as any stayers, and they are running on the clock as good as any stayers, middle distance dogs anywhere in the country right now. So I wouldn't be at all surprised if we see these two dogs front up in some big Group 1 races over on the East Coast in the upcoming months.
And also Bezecchi was out to win race number 6.
Another stunning performance, stepping up to the longer distance a couple of starts ago. Was really good last week. Smallish field last night, and dominated the race. Miss Ronnie Mack back in second. Big night for Paul Stewart as well. He had plenty. He's had a really good run of late. Bastianini's a young dog he's got going through the grades. It was a really good winner of race number 2 on the program as well. And also later into the program there last night, it was great to see Sky Rain get up, a former East Coast chaser, now in the care of Kirsty Moore. She only has a small team, does a great job with her team. It was a good winner over the 601 metres. And Southern Star for Maxie Julian, box 1 bandit, loves it off the inside draw. It was a really good win. And the free-for-all went the way of Rare Speed for Cody Charles, who's also had a good run with his team of late. Excellent burn from box number 4, and really good winner. So it was a very, very good 12-race program there for the punters out at Cannington. And also last night, the Meadows, we saw some first-class chasing on that program. The Group 3 Fireball went the way of Ethanol Water, who we saw across here in Perth through our carnival, defeating Lanfranco and Henry Intention. And the Group 1 Maturity Classic, well, this was a stunning win. Slick splits for Thomas Daly. Not easy to say, but very easy to watch if you're aboard. This greyhound showed amazing early burn, zoomed over, lived up to its name, defeated Shimmer Time. So Cornella for Tom Daly. Paul Quimby ran third, and Tom Daly finished fourth with Upset Sunset. So first, second and fourth in a Group 1. Pretty decent training performance, that.
Okay, text line Boulder Barney. This is for Retrovision, of course. Good on you, Boulder Barney. Day chaps, do you think Zach Butters could make it to the Bombers? Geez, I'd like him to. Watching last night, he was heroic in a losing side, never gave up, just what the Bombers require. I would agree with you 100%, Barney. from what I watched of that game, in and out, 2.5 quarters, I reckon, in totality, he was trying his heart out.
34 disposals, 4 tackles. He was 11 clearances. He was everywhere in the game last night in horrendous conditions, and when you're trailing by the margin that they were in this game last night, I thought Ollie Wines was great as well for Port Adelaide, to be honest. They're both Trojans, but when you start talking to big money, like, you know, 2 million, that 2 million bracket, I've got Zach Butters in that top probably 10 to 12 players in the competition. He's the sort of player I'd be throwing that sort of money at.
Yeah,
no doubt. He's elite.
Yeah. He's a great ball user. He's got speed and he's got aggression. You know, he's not that big looking at him, but he plays big.
He plays strong. The other player I want to give a shout out for last night, and gee, I love this guy, Ben Keys for Adelaide. So he was delisted by Brisbane. He's a great story, Ben Keys. He was delisted by Brisbane. Adelaide took a chance on him. He's one of the fittest players in the AFL right now. He runs up, down, both ends of the ground. Last night, in those conditions, the numbers don't look amazing, 3 goals, 4, but he created so many shots on goal just through pure gut running and hard attack on the football. He, week in, week out, gets the job done for Adelaide. He's one of the most underestimated players in the game. And also, if you like a first goal scorer bet, he continues to get his hands on the ball early in games at big odds to score first goal. So keep your eyes peeled there. But he's a wonderful footballer.
And what about the medal winner, Riley Thilthorpe? Had a massive game, the Viking. He kicked 3, but his ruck work and his around the ground work was just huge in the wet conditions. It did not worry him one bit, the big fella.
In fact, it's almost like you looked at his heavy track form and he was about 5 for 5 on the heavy. He looked very comfortable in it. You can understand when you look at this pure size and power of the man. He was just powering through the ground when a lot of the opposition was struggling to get through it. But he is a man mountain, isn't he, Riley Thilthorpe? And he's been a big part of why they've had this genuine spike so far in 2025.
Well, it was a big night here at Gloucester Park on Friday night. Let's go back and relive the free-for-all.
Then Al Capone running on, rolling fire, 3 wide, but Lusaka's going okay. Talks up a storm on the inside coming through, and Mighty Ronaldo outside, but Lusaka raced away. Third quarter in 28-3, it bounded clear. Vega Strip talks up a storm, and then Al Capone followed wide out by Mighty Ronaldo, but Lusaka's off and gone around the turn, is going like a machine at the moment. Lusaka well clear, talks up a storm, runs up outside of Vega Strip and Al Capone, but Roberts has got a double here with Lusaka racing right away back to its best tonight. It has been racing in great form, has had no luck, and Lusaka raced home to beat Talks Up a Storm.
Geez, that was an impressive win. Greg Bond, the trainer of Lusaka, joins us. G'day, Bondy. Good morning.
G'day, Marty and Shorty. How we going, lads?
Good. Not as good as you, but gee, that was an impressive win Friday night. The third section down the back, low 28, and just went right to the wire.
Yeah, he's been threatening to do something like that for a while, Marty. He just hasn't really been blessed with a lot of racing luck. His last start, he came from well back and ran a great 4th. I think it was in the August Cup, the Winter Cup, sorry, a couple of weeks ago. So, he's been threatening to do that, and things panned out in the race for us on Friday night, and he duly delivered.
Indeed. How's the horse pulled through and come through that performance, Bondy, licking everything out from a feed perspective and ready to punch on for the next assignment?
Just like you after a pre-season workout, Shorty, ready for the next one, buddy.
Magnificent. Geez, that's sending the memory into overdrive. It's been a while since I've had one of those, Bondy. I could probably do with one, but so
I'm just getting down to where you would have applied your craft a bit down at Striker at Leeming for Jets having a net session this morning.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, I still front up there on a Tuesday night with the primates and roll the arm over, which is a bit of fun. It's a good facility. I'm sure if he's half as good as Dad, he'll be hitting them out of the screws this morning there, Bondy. So in the same race, you had Vegas Strip finished 3rd in that race. It was a nice effort as well. Nice when you can go home with 1st and 3rd prize money in the same race.
Yeah, it was. We sort of had to make a call whether we could get around the one horse, the favourite, Skyloo, and we sort of Denny was sort of upbeat, thinking that he could. So we thought, okay, well, we know he's got some gate speed, so we told Tom, let's have a good look off the arm, and as it turned out, he was able to get across Skyloo, and Lusaka followed him down, and was then able to work to the front. So, he's been a wonderful horse for us. Vegas Strip, he won the Slipper as a 2-year-old, and form's been a little bit in and out in the last 6 months, but Friday night's run was a sign of better things to come.
So what's the thought with Lusaka? Where's he placed with you in your stable going forward? He's 47 starts, 16 wins. He's around the place, but that, as you said, he had his chance last night and really delivered. Friday night really delivered.
Yeah, look, Marty, if you go back through his form as a 4-year-old, he ran second to Mr. Smarty in the 4-year-old Classic, third to Mr. Smarty in the Golden Nugget. He's clearly in our view, he's clearly like a good quality free-for-all for us moving forward.
Yep.
He won the Manea Classic down at Bunbury 4 or 5 runs back against a pretty hot field, and it was just, we were back in the pack, but it was a good tempo run race, and we were able to get over the top of them. So, no, he's a horse that's got a lot of upside to him, and between him and the other horse that won Friday night, Golden Load, we sort of identified those two as what we think will be our next good crop of free-for-allers when horses like Minstrel hang up the boots at some stage,
Next generation coming through. Tell us a little bit about that win from Golden Load in race number 2 there on Friday night, Bondi.
Look, again, he's probably been similar to Lusaka. He's hadn't had any luck with. I think it's more the Shorty, the new handicapping system come in, and the good 3-year-olds went way up in grade with the national rating, and so he's copped a lot of bad barriers, and then there hasn't been a lot of speed on him in a lot of the races that he was in. So whilst his numerical form didn't necessarily look that flash, his actual times he's running sections getting home. So we just freshened him up, and that was his first run for 6 weeks. But his work at home was excellent. We were actually very, very confident Friday night he could win that race. So and we drove him a bit out of his comfort zone. We normally sit him up and use his speed, but we elected to push through from the back row and go forward and sit in the breeze. And he duly delivered, and looking forward to the future with him.
You did get beating one. Race number 8, Chugach, was sort of caught on the wire by Crunch'em, who had the lucky punch shot at you late. What about this horse?
Yeah, nice horse, Marty. He had his first run a couple of weeks ago. Unfortunately, copped the backwash of a horse galloping just at the top of the home straight the last time. But other than that, he won his first 2. He ran an excellent second in one of the better races and had a break. And Friday night's run, he sat parked. Very happy with how he was. Like Denny just sort of said he got his head in front of the other horse, and he just sort of laboured a little bit, like probably just a bit of racing greenness. So very happy with him. He'll head to the Pearl Heats Monday week, and hopefully qualify for that final, and then we'll line him up for the 2-year-old Westbred series and final later on in about a month and a half, 2 months' time.
Bondi, you've been a part of plenty of Into Dominions over the years. We're coming off ID 25 there last week up at Albion Park. Marty and I had a great chat about it last week, and he was lucky enough to have Johnny Hunt join him on drive last week, and they recapped some of their favourite Into Dominion champions and champions of harness racing. It was great radio. Really enjoyed that, and I'm sure you would have followed the series. Leap to Fame, absolute star of the sport at the moment. Where do you rate Leap to Fame with some of those stars from years gone by?
Oh, you know what it's like, Marty, trying to compare horses from different eras is always probably, it's just opinion-based, but Leap to Fame just seems to probably have that extra bit of X factor that I think even the real good ones possibly didn't have. I mean, I used to love watching Mighty Quinn get around. Like, I've never seen a horse come 4 and 5 deep at Gloucester Park, running the sections they're running and hitting that top bend off the back, and the head just never hung, just dead straight. You would think he's running in a straight line, running around that top bend at Gloucester Park. It's just that to me, I used to shake my head at that horse, but being able to do that, because I know how hard it is for some of our horses to come 4 and 5 deep on that top bend, and
let alone run time. But, you know, they can go a bit rough and hang and stuff. But, yeah, look, Leap to Fame, probably, or for what I can see in my time, he's clearly the best horse that standardbred I've ever seen anyway.
You mentioned Minstrel. What's the story with him?
Yeah, you'll see him very shortly. He's had a few gallops now, and he's coming to hand very nicely. So we're thinking probably 3 weeks from last Friday night at this stage. We'll get some good hopper work into him this week and next week, and he'll tell us. But, yeah, you'll see him very shortly.
Looking forward to seeing Minstrel back on track. Been a wonderful campaigner for the stable. Brad, really appreciate you taking the time to join us this morning, Bondi. Good luck with the throwdowns with the young fella. I hope he goes well, and look forward to chatting again very soon.
Yeah, have a good day, guys. Take care. Bye.
There he goes, Greg Bond. Oh, that's good news. 3 weeks or so. Minstrel running around here at GP.
Huge. Absolutely huge. Looking forward to that, Marty. And, Peter O'Neill, he's got a few big events coming up. I note that they've got a big night coming up here at Gloucester Park, Marty, that they've got me involved with the Punters Challenge night.
In November?
Similar to what they have had in recent times. So that will be in November on a Friday night. And it's the first time they've run it here at the Trot. So it's been done with great success, obviously, at the races on a number of occasions, but it's the best value that you can possibly hope for when you go to the racetrack. You get $50 per race to bet on through the course of the night. The first, second and third for prize money on the night take away extra prize money on top of that. And, of course, you get to keep whatever you win on the night. So it's a great way to spend a night at the track with some friends, and looking forward to being a part of that.
Yeah, that's Barbagallo Fireworks night as well, I think. So it's going to be all going off here. Now, William Pike yesterday, little four-timer at Belmont Park. Good to be back, and it was good to hear him after the race too. Give Perth Racing Rawa and all the track staff and consultants a good pat on the back, and said the track felt really good and safe to ride on.
Excellent. Excellent to hear.
He's 165.5 wins, 6.5 clear of Blake Shin in that National Jockey Championship. Clint Johnson Porter has won 40 in third. Lucy Fiore 138.5 in fourth. And Tash Faithful 132 in fifth. Chris Parnham 131 in sixth.
Wow.
Not a bad effort, is it?
Dominant from our top liners. And also, Marty, great to see some of the apprentices starting to work their way through the ranks as well. Obviously, Chanel Cooper and Zephyr Johnston Porter. Great to see these youngsters starting to emerge through the ranks. And you have a look at some of the riders that are going around up on the country tracks in recent times, and that's where a lot of these youngsters can learn and continue to get better. The likes of Holly Noddle, who's been going really well of late. I see that it was a pretty decent day in the saddle there at Roban for Holly. With a riding treble there as well. So she's going great guns. All right, Marty, we'll have a break. When we return, more of the Aftermath.
You're listening to Marty Young and David Shortte right here on Tab Radio Racing and Sport.
Shorty, Troy Morrissey not far away. He's going to talk about Zadar Rock's win yesterday in that Cup at Roburn. Gee, wasn't it a good... Even the Mauler found it, if you don't mind, at $5. Geez, he had another big day on the tip. He might be back on the show Thursday. Mauler the way he's going.
I love to hear it.
He has fired through some very important information. While I find it about the World Darts Championship, which was... the two semi-finals on this morning. We've got two games to look at today in the AFL.
We have 12 bounce down. Richmond Collingwood, $11. The Tigers. The Pies, $1.04. That line's at 46.5. Game total 154.5. And then St Kilda Melbourne, $2.04. The Saints, $1.77 Melbourne. That line 3.5. And game total 169.5. Good luck to everyone getting involved in those games this afternoon. 12 though, the bounce down in the first game. We won't spend any more time talking about this fixturing, but it is extraordinary that on a day where you've only got two games that they are overlapping.
Yeah, just madness, but it's the AFL.
We have got a bit of special action as well for the punters that are looking to get involved for today. St Kilda Melbourne, a same game multi, 50% profit plus. So the St Kilda Melbourne game put together a little same gamer and 50% profit plus for the punters to get involved with there today. So be sure to use that to advantage. There's also NRL try scorer special on the Canterbury Bulldogs Manly Sea Eagles game. There's a Formula One special there and a bit of Mighty Multi action as well. So head to the special section on your Tab Touch account if you're looking to have a punt on the sport today.
Lightning Chuck-a-luck, well back is High Commission, and Captain Rogers last of all. They turn for home in the Roeburn Cup. He's a Zeb, Asymmetric, Falcon Trader, Zeta Rock coming on down the centre. Zeta Rock and Asymmetric, the two for Cochavera. Two back to He's a Zeb, and then Falcon Trader, but Zeta Rock surges to the top. Zeta Rock surges clear, and it's Zeta Rock who scores in the Roeburn Cup. Zeta Rock defeats in second Asymmetric. A Cochavera one.
Terrific win there by Zeta Rock. Part owner Troy Morrissey joins us to talk about it and, of course, Port Hedland Cup Day next week. G'day, Troy, and congratulations on the win.
How are you, Marty?
Not bad.
Thank you very much.
I'm with David Shortte as well. How are you feeling this morning after we woke you up?
Yeah, I'm pretty average, to be honest, but... yeah, it's a great day, obviously, for everyone involved. Yeah.
Tell us about the day. Alex kept telling everyone listening that it was a massive crowd turned up. It's a $50,000 race sponsored by Tab Touch, the Roeburn Cup.
Yeah, I looked at massive crowd. Obviously, all the owners of Zeta was sort of down in the members' sponsors area. But, yeah, a great day, good weather, and obviously, yeah, good ending for us.
Big time. Tell us a little bit about the experience there, being on track, cheering the winner home. Zeta Rock, to be fair, a very classy horse for a race like this. And with the Port Hedland Cup on next week, there could be more in store.
Yeah, well, it's probably bittersweet for us because last year we went down there thinking we could win and he got beat 20 lengths. So we had to regroup on the way home last year. And yeah, this year, obviously, with a good spell under his belt, he's come back in great order. And yeah, he hasn't really put a foot wrong. And he's shown his class in every run. Really, he's pretty much dominated them every run.
Well, his last win at Port Hedland, you had to see it to believe it. Coming from last, just going around them and blowing them away, and he's given the stablemate 5 kilos and beaten by 3 lengths. He just appears to have gone to another level on last year's campaign.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure, but we may have, unlocked the key to him where he's been falling out the back, whereas previous times he'd always been a leader down in Perth, and he seems happy at the back, and he seems to have an acceleration that most of them don't have up here. In fairness, when I bought him off Jimmy Taylor, he did tell me, he said he had a very high opinion of him and he couldn't quite unlock it with him. He said, but I think you'll have some fun with him. So, yeah, obviously an ex-part owner, Ian Russell, gave us first option through Jimmy to buy him. So, yeah, appreciate that. And, yeah, can't thank everyone enough, really.
It was now a 6-year-old, the son of Awesome Rock, and like you say, probably this preparation, it's just been flawless. The horse is seemingly confident, really happy, enjoying the conditions up there, and capable of continuing on. Out of that performance there yesterday, you'd have pretty good confidence levels heading up towards the next feature up there?
Oh, 100%. And obviously, Kochi, my good mate and trainer, he still hasn't won his hometown cup officially yet, so yeah, that's probably it'd be great if either one of them win it next week.
Does Michael Hegney retain the ride on Zeta Rock?
Yeah. We all stick up here, and unfortunate for young Bailey yesterday, but his time will come. That's when you've got a senior rider of Michael's experience and all that. That's why you put him on, and his ride yesterday showed that.
100%. Big week for you leading into the Cup, of course. What's first on your agenda tomorrow morning when you get into work?
I've got 2 weeks off, so I think we'll go to the pub today with the Cup and have a few more celebratory drinks before I knuckle down for the Hedland Cup work.
Yep. Yeah,
you love to hear that, Marty, too. To be fair to you, Troy, it's big races like this when you've got a massive crowd, the local community are all there. It's a special moment, and it's pretty hard, even when you've got nice horses. Like you said, this time last year, you were going home with the tail between your legs, so you have to really make sure that you celebrate these moments when they arrive. Yeah, and it's obviously it's a unbelievable feeling, but to have like 6 or 7 of my workmates where I work in the horse, so we all got on a bus yesterday.
and went down to watch him. So, yeah, it's one of the few times that nearly all of us were there, except for a couple of our good mates in Perth that are in the horse. The bus trip took quite a long time to get home.
Magnificent.
So just a matter now of Kochi keeping him together for 7 days, have him right for the Cup next weekend. Looking forward to that next Sunday. All the best to you, Troy. Looking forward to seeing you up there in Port Hedland.
No worries, Marty, and we'll have that box of mud crabs for you and Alex ready for you when you get here.
Sounds nice. Thank you very much, Troy Morrissey. He's a star, doing a great job with that Port Hedland Turf Club.
Big time.
He's turned it around and the place is going particularly well.
Sounds like the good times are set to roll today as well. Geez, you get looked after, don't you? The old box of mud crabs.
Said that. I've got to declare it now.
Rip into them. All the very best, punters. Enjoy your Sunday.